Hi guys, good morning. Hope everyone's had a blessed morning so far.
Grand Rising, everybody, and thank you for joining us this rising. Today's our second day of our 7-day live sort of chat conference. We've got loads of guests joining us, amazing, phenomenal people, inspirational people. And today we're discussing I pronounced it right earlier on, Kuji, that's it. Self-determination. As I've said before, I know it sounds really pants, but we don't really celebrate Kwanzaa like that, but we do appreciate the celebrations and the principles and its meaning, its origin and meaning. We have a few amazing guests today joining us in that topic who we admire their thoughts and opinions. We admire what they're doing in our community and what they're doing individually, like within self and
their respective communities and the activities that they engage in.
And it all has to do with having self-determination somewhere down the line. There's a lot that we're having to work against or work towards within ourselves and outside of ourselves. So we thought it would be great to invite who we've invited as guests for today's topic.
So we're just going to present our first guest, which is Amani Simpson. How you doing, brother?
Grand Rising, we can't hear you.
Can you hear me now? Is that better?
Yeah, that's much better.
Yeah.
How you doing?
Thanks for having me, guys. I'm blessed.
That's good. Good to see you, my brother. We had a conversation.
You guys hear me okay?
Yeah, we can hear you fine.
We had a conversation with our brother earlier on during the year, and he dropped a lot of pearls of wisdom. So we thought it was only right to invite him on again, and especially where he kind of represents a certain audience or a certain age demographic that we feel is important to be represented on our platform. Could you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, hey everyone. So my name is Amani Simpson. I'm a social entrepreneur, an activist, a filmmaker. Probably most known for my short film Amani, which stars Javan Wade, which is about my story. I got stabbed when I was younger, and it's just basically a journey of redemption and self-reflection. And yeah, I released it last year, and we had a very, very good response. We did 1 million views in 4 days. We just celebrated reaching 3 million views on our video. And yeah, for me, I'm just all about young people. I'm all about my community. So of course, I've got to come on a platform like this and share, because yeah, for me, it's important that we continue to be the village around these young people to help amplify their voices, and yeah, just use our own experiences to empower them and their parents and their support network. So yeah,
that's amazing. We're gonna invite Doreen. Hi, Doreen. How are you doing?
All right.
Grand Rising Empress, your mic sounds a little bit low. I don't know. Is it us or?
No, it isn't us.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yes, a bit closer. Yeah.
Maybe I've turned it up, so I don't know. Okay,
That's
can you hear me now?
That's all right. We'll work with it. So, good morning. How you doing, sister?
Wow.
No, we definitely can't hear you now.
Can't hear you.
This only happens when you're going to say something great on the show.
All right. What we're gonna suggest is if you log out and then log back in, and then we'll see if that works for you. It might be a reception or internet connection issue.
Should we swap her over from Macau so we can introduce Macau? Oh, is that okay? No.
No. All right, then what we're going to do is we're going to see if we can switch back over to Amani while we sort out the technical difficulties with Doreen.
And before we do that, I just also wanted to quickly jump in there and say that we've got a giveaway during this talk conference series. I'll just let you know the details of it. You can find the details actually on our Instagram page on Black British Parent. But what we have is we have 3 prizes, and it's 4 steps to enter into the prize. Basically, the first prize is 2 free online children's cooking lessons with Tasteful Munch, so children age 8+. And the second prize is a black doll from Afro Toys, and the third prize is a book, You Can Heal Your Life by Louise Hay. It's not a black author, but it's an amazing book anyway. And in order to enter for the giveaway, you have to follow our Black British Parent Instagram account. You have to like the post that says giveaway, and you also have to tag 3 friends and also screenshot yourselves watching one of our live streams during this Kwanzaa period, and we'll basically announce the winner on our live, which is normally on a Sunday. We have our IGTV live Sundays at 11 o'clock. Obviously, for the sake of this Kwanzaa period, we're not having it this time, but on the 3rd of January, we'll be announcing the winner.
Okay, amazing. Amani, if you could lead us in with your thoughts when it comes to the subject of self-determination. If you could.
Yeah, can you hear me okay?
Yeah, we can hear you fine.
Perfect, yeah. I was doing a lot of research on it because every year I'm like, yeah, I'm going to celebrate Kwanzaa, I'm going to celebrate Kwanzaa. And I've been a lot more empowered to really get into the ins and outs of it. So for me, self-determination is about empowerment. I think it's about really having an understanding of who we are and our history and how we, what we create for ourselves, kind of basically using our own voices, stuff like that. So yeah, I'm every day, obviously, there's something new to take in. So for this talk, I really kind of went in with the self-determination research, and yeah, I like the concept. And actually, my sister's name's Naya or Nia, so there's there's obviously a day that's dedicated to her, which is purpose. So yeah, loving the whole Kwanzaa vibe this year.
Yeah, I think we often get caught up with the politics as to what we're used to, what we've been brought up with, and what we feel is relevant to us. But I feel that we can kind of take different parts of things that are positive or resonate with us and use it to our best advantage. So a lot of people, like, for example, would say, I'm not familiar with Kwanzaa, or I'm not familiar with, I'm a Christian, so I only focus on Christmas and what have you. However, Christmas is for one day, but because we have this opportunity to look at different kind of cultural rituals to a certain degree.
And concepts, yeah.
And concepts.
Principles, yeah.
We're able to kind of have this time to look at and focus on like these 7 different principles. So
that can be looked at and reflected on all throughout the year, not just one day. So yeah, definitely.
So we're gonna
100%.
We're gonna go over and have a brief conversation with Macau.
Greetings, King Grand Rising.
Yaga yo, Kwanzaa Furaha family, Wagwan, big up Amani in the building.
Wagwan family.
I'm peaceful, family. Big up everyone. Yeah, man.
Thank you
I'm
for
good.
joining us. Do you want to give a little introduction about yourself? I know everybody, well, pretty much knows who you are, but just for those that might not.
Everyone, that's flattering. I
Well,
am
people in
Mikel
Africa,
Amin.
anyway.
I'm Mikel Amin. I am a spiritual, creative, and innovator, world changer, Utu Mungu, Utu Roho. You know what I'm saying? That's me, in and out. Well, go on.
Amazing.
Yes, sir.
We're gonna switch back over to Doreen because I think it might be a little bit more stable now.
Can you hear me
Doreen, can you
now?
hear us?
Yes,
Yes,
that's
that's
awesome.
amazing.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yes.
Thank God. Okay. I had to
Doreen,
figure out.
how you doing, my sister?
Okay. I'm fine, thank you very much. Blues, as you can
That's
see.
amazing.
So you want me to
If
introduce
you could give
myself?
us a brief, yes, please.
A brief. Okay. Um, I would say that I am the world's networker because what I do is that I meet people and then I pass on their information. I'm very much about networking. I'm not keeping things to myself, but giving it to other people. I come a sort of nursing background, community backgrounds, very much about connecting us as people and learning as we're going along because I'm of an age willing to learn from other people. So I think it's really important. My mission is to sort of to get together where we can heal each other and talk about issues that we feel that we can't be eyes glaze, and that stops us from exploring things. So I'm very much about putting things out and having the conversation. So I've
It's cut out again.
Sorry, we can't hear you again. It's cut out.
Can't hear you.
All right, then what we'll do is, for the meantime, we're just gonna switch to Mikhail and get his thoughts and perspective on the subject of today, which is self-determination. So, Mikhail, could you just step in for a moment and just give us your thoughts on today's subject?
On today's subject, or in Kwanzaa, kujichagulia, self-determination powers, man. This morning I did a live um, on this topic, um, and I paired it with something that we study in Waroho House, which is the 11 laws of God, Ma'at, the Ma'at principle. And when you think of self-determination, you're talking about the will, yes, your ability to move on the rhythm of God's will in your life. In reference to the 11 laws of God, that will, and it's so relevant for the Kwanzaa, the placement of Kwanzaa, but that will represents Heru, and Heru is the principle and archetype that Jesus is also fashioned after. Hercules is also fashioned after. The name Hercules comes from Heru. And so when you're dealing with this era, the sun dying and rising again, that's what Christmas is about, right? And you're dealing with today's lesson, which is self-determination. You're dealing with divine will, your ability to will yourself into any experience of life, any manifestation you want, the ability to follow the will. And one of the things that I was saying is today is that the will is not led by emotions. Emotions follow the will. The will is just God's principle. Yes. And so when we talk about our reasons for acting, our ability to act, or our ability to choose, kujichagulia, or to be self-determined, that is all going to be based on who we believe we are in our imagination. In the 11 laws, it talks about it's not what you imagine, it's who is imagining. Are you a human being or are you a divine being? You see, a human being is going to use their imagination based on the limitations that they are able to observe as a human. A divine being is going to use their imagination based on the full knowledge that they are divine. Yes? The idea of the will, or Heru, or Christ, yes, Yeshua. The idea is that power and force that's not emotional can override every single emotion and command every emotion to follow that will, so that you can become the God, become, or in Kemetic terms, you can resurrect Asar, you see, which means oneness. That's all it means. Oneness with everything. To become God, the first principle of God is the first principle of Kwanzaa, Umoja, unity. The first principle of God, whether you want to say Umoja, whether you want to say Asar, whether you want to say oneness or Ubuntu, literally, it means oneness. So the idea of self-determination or will is so that you can go back to a place where you can manifest everything because of it. And so that's the break I did today. And it just reminded me to it reminded me of my power, and it reminded me to be very, very, very present and appreciate this day, this wonderful day that we have. Yeah. Kujichagulia. Choose. Yes.
Thank you, King.
Thank you.
Yeah. Bless up,
Um,
fam.
Doreen, I think we might have solved all our issues now.
Can you hear me now?
Yes,
Yes,
we
yes.
can.
Can you hear
The
me now?
Yeah, we can.
God, I think I've got a very poor reception.
But what we wanted to ask you is, what are your perspective on
Okay.
self-determination? I don't know.
Say
What is
again.
your perspective on self-determination?
Again.
What's your perspective on
Um,
self-determination?
you've got to be very focused, and you've got to be not that might coming your way. You've got to be aware of distractions. I think this political arena that's in 2020 has proved to us that there's lots of things that come in our mind to distract us. So to be very focused and to connect with other people that are like-minded like love. So not to be engrossed with black people that are negative, or not negative, but haven't come with other knowledge. So to keep more focused with people that are going forward, so that you be going forward and learning all the time, because we're learning all the time from each other, and open to that. So that's my perspective on that, is to be open. I'm just open to anything.
How, because obviously you've seen probably a lot of changes and a lot of different things over your lifetime. How do you stay kind of motivated and focused and driven yourself?
I think because I worked with I worked with I work with very vulnerable people, so people that have fallen through the net of our society. That means our black community, our black agenda, whatever they've fallen through. So we'll have young people, people that have displaced from one country to another. So cannot come into and you cannot support them if you've got a very blinkered way of thinking. So that we look at people as human beings first. So that's into any religion. I'm not a religious person in any form, although all my family are born again Christians, and they will have tried every book I tried to try. I believe, me personally, I'm than anything else. I go with, if you know the difference between good and bad, that's all I need to know. So for me, I'm an older age group, so I've seen a generation from my parents when they came here in the 50s. I'm a 1950s child. So from that, I've seen changes, and I've been fortunate or unfortunate that I've meandered through all the of our society within Britain and the black culture. So you've had, and to pray to set your black culture, but say it is to open up that conversation, because I've been controversial in a sense that I don't fit into that. I hate to be fitted into a particular box. So I'm a female, yes, I'm a black female, yes, but do not put me in, because I will not fit into that. So I was, in a sense, that's where my nation is to find like people like myself that we can have conversation and explore those things. So like sexuality, gender role, female role, self and everything else. I want to explore those images. I don't want it closed because of religion. That ain't my thing. So that's what's keeping me. Surprisingly, I think more people now are actually engaging, and we are having a conversation, and that's been really inspirational, especially this year. It's been fantastic. I've met quite a lot of people that are doing things on the ground. I'd hate when black people turn around and tell me, well, black people don't do, why don't we be like Asians? Hell no. I know people that kill each other. As far as I'm not into that. I'm into black people of work such as that have actually digged and don't get recognition. We've got to turn that dial and start saying, actually, there are black people out there that are doing things, and we have to support on a daily basis as individuals, as everything. We've enough said.
Thank you, Tori.
I just thought I'd put it out there.
Okay, so like in your experience, Amani, I wanted to know like what has been, because you work with young people, you work with people that are inspired and want to do things such as like yourself. How do you encourage that in young people for future generation, the self-determination aspects of things?
I think it starts with self-education. I think a lot of young people have been drip-fed wrong information over the years, or if you want to look at the kind of the kind of idea of decolonizing your mind, I feel like there's a lot that needs to be done for the next generation. Some of their principles, some of their ways of operating are a little bit skewed, and so they need access to relatable role models that are a few steps ahead of them. Of course, we always hail up the elders and the older generation, but I feel like it's my generation that is going to kind of bridge that gap, because we kind of understand why our parents operated in the way that they operated, but we also understand why the younger generation operate the way that they do. So I think it's down to us to really like kind of bridge that gap. And I think for me, it's just about being present and being real for them, because I feel like a lot of young people, as they say, they kind of like real respect real. Do you know what I mean? So they know when you're not being authentic. They know when you're coming with some kind of agenda. They know when you want to get something out of it that doesn't really benefit them. And I think it's important about always, you know, or to always try and amplify their voices whenever you're working on projects or you're in a room with young people, not trying to speak on behalf of them, trying to put them in the forefront so that they can kind of just show you their magic. I always use the example and say, whenever I've thrown or passed the ball to a young person, they've never dropped it. They always surprise me. They always come up with something that's amazing. So I think that's how we really empower them to kind of, yeah, just move towards the greatest version of themselves. And that's a lifelong journey. You know, even myself at 30, I'm still discovering what that means. You know, I've got the rest of my life to improve. And once you stop learning, I think, you know, you might as well clock out, you know?
Definitely.
I kind of wanted to ask Mikhail specifically because your energy is so vibrant, it's so unique, you know, and it's very you know, and you resonate an energy that people kind of relate to and allow them to be themselves around you, which I think is fantastic and beautiful. Obviously, right now we're in this culture where I've noticed, I saw this last night actually on social media, where it seems that the government has got this sort of war on wokeness. And obviously, for those of us who kind of fit into that kind of category of wokeness, in terms of not the costume aspect of it, but really the reality of having an awareness of what's happening around us. When you're the only person in your family that's like that, and the only person in your network, how do you stay so I wouldn't assume that you're the only person like that in your network and your family, but I'm just saying, for someone that is, how do they stay, how what advice can you give to help someone stay focused on their reality and their truth and their awakening? Oh no, he's gone.
I think it's a really poor connection. I don't know what's happened.
Okay.
Anyway,
As I said before, when you've got something good to say.
can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. Okay.
Okay, fair enough.
Is he back? No.
Yeah, he's back. He's back.
Sorry, Mikhail, did you get the question, or did you?
Yeah, I got a question, but it just cut out
Yeah.
straight after you asked the question. That's crazy. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are we good?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Basically, how do you self in an environment where everyone around's not like in alignment with what you are? It seems that people are at odds with who you are. How to
Yeah.
maintain yourself. I think this is a game of influence. This is a game of influence. You know, your environment is very, very powerful, because, like, as nature shows, environment is what plants seeds. You get what I'm saying? When our garden grows, it's the environment that's causing it to continue in its image, and so influence is very, very important. So what I did and what I've been doing for the last 10 years is creating environments that reflect intention I am and what I want. So I am meaning it's an environment I'm sharing that which I am, or it's an environment where I'm learning for what I wish to be, or a mixture of both. And so what I personally, I started to intentionally look at every aspect of myself, like, you know, for my expression, I'm the animal, that the energy gap feel like the same. My energy was different, and so I didn't in such spaces. So I'd create my environments to express where people could reciprocate. And so it's a game of influence, and the more and more I feel like that your experience of life is the more and more you will start to create spaces for you and then when you buck up on people, that art, it doesn't really matter. It's like it's me. I'm in England, right? I'm in England right now, and I've been in London for the past about a year since February. I've been here. I haven't been for 3 years really, but I'm here. I'm so happy and I'm elated because I know I'm not from here. Do you get what I'm saying? Like I have a different level of influence because I live in Africa where black does. So the levels of influence that I have of who I am as a being. So I can be on ends and it's a whole different experience. Do you get what I'm saying? It no longer affects me the way it used to, just because who I am and what my awareness, my business has expanded. You see what I'm saying? So that would be my advice: is to ramp up your spaces of influence, reflect what you am. So you know where you're studying, who you're studying. This is why I created Warrock House for that exact same question, to give folks who are of the spirit, who really geared towards spiritual growth in all pieces of it, so that they can have a space to interact with people, share, learn, lead, follow, create. Does that make sense? So
Yeah.
you see, so again, but then you also have a word that you can plug as well. Yeah, it becomes small. It's like cancer. The cancer cells are there in your body. The healthier you are, they shrink. It doesn't matter. And it's the same way. Those people who want to dish away your living lifestyle, who want to, you know, ridicule you for certain things or see you, they just become smaller and they become like spiders in the house. You know they're there. You don't want them to be there. You're like, oh, it's kind of cute. But everything amazing. Do you get what I'm saying? Yeah. I hope that answers your question.
That does very much so. Thank you. I understand you have to leave us. Are you still having to leave?
Yeah, just like I could stay for about 10 more minutes. I think would be cool.
Okay, because then what I was gonna do is
Because
before
I
you
run a
leave.
class on this. Yeah.
Okay, yes. So, okay, quickly before you leave, would you like to share any like a message for Black British parents pertaining to this subject, or what your thoughts are?
And what our focus to a certain degree should be going into the next year.
Yeah.
What the focus should be.
Yeah.
Going into the
The
next
year
year.
2021.
Yeah, I mean, for me, Black British parents. Well, I became a parent this year.
Congratulations.
I had my first year, and
Oh, hello.
Mikhail, you're cutting out a little bit, or a lot, should I say?
I can't talk. Can you hear me?
No.
No, we can't.
hear me.
Yeah.
We
Can
can
you
we
hear
can
me?
hear you
Can you
now.
hear me?
Yeah.
I can.
I think the reception's
Can.
very bad.
Good.
Yeah,
I
you're
was
good. You're
doing
good.
so well. Okay, I'm good. All right, cool.
Just about.
Yeah, family. Shit. Well, I would say trust in the rhythm that we've all been given. There's a beautiful shit that we have with life that is all like, think of all the bad things you've been through, all the worst nights, all the worst times. They've provided you with so much value and wisdom in this life, so much so that you need not think challenges, but you always get through it. you know you will always be wiser. You know you will always grow. So all I would say is lead life from your highest intentions, which should be heaven. Lead your entire life as a parent, as a personal entity, as a brother, from all your spaces. Lead from that knowing that you are the vehicle of heaven, and heaven follows you no matter where you go. And so, challenge comes to you, you will always be gifted. As the challenge presents itself, you will always be gifted the tools to overcome and thrive because of it. But let that happen by accident. Let that also be your intention, that when the challenge comes, it pushes and guides you to your heaven. That makes sense. Challenges are always going to push us. They're always going to force us. But when the challenge comes, call out, declare. As you take on the challenge, declare who you are. I am heaven. Declare what you want to heaven. Declare as the challenge comes what will help you manifest heaven. Not when you die in the now. You see what I'm saying? And so let your relationship the rhythm of life. See, peace and pleasure. That's all we're doing for 2021. Peace and pleasure. Peace and pleasure. If I have pleasure, we have peace. As we have peace, we find, if it's not pleasurable, we find peace with it. Oh man, easy. Pleasure. Yeah. You get what I'm saying? That's it. That's it. Pleasure to peace. Pleasure to peace. Nice. That's what I'm on.
Thank you
Thank you,
so much,
brother.
Ron. Thank you. We appreciate that.
Thank you for taking the time out, and we know you're a busy guy, so thanks.
Thank you.
Thank
Okay,
you for
so
having me, family. If, yeah, check. If you guys want to check out what we're doing in Waroho House, just follow Waroho. Much there's so much activities and doing during the days. So make sure to check it out. We're also tonight. We're gonna have a 6 o'clock on our Zoom. We'll have a live stream of brothers in Kenya breaking down the lifestyle of Kwanzaa from African perspective. Yeah, definitely jump on that if you guys are free. But
we're
yeah,
gonna
thank
check
you
it
for
Yeah, we're
out
having
gonna
me.
check
still.
that out. Adam.
Blessings,
Take care.
family.
Blessings. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Peace.
And
Love,
congratulations.
bro.
Bye.
Thank you.
Peace, Doreen. Peace, Amani. Thank you.
So, Doreen, I wanted to ask you as well, like from your experience, because obviously you have a lot more experience in this lifetime in this country, I suppose, than many of us because we're a bit younger. Um, like, what is it? What's necessary for our community in terms of accountability? Because obviously self determination involves the self, but there's also a collective aspect to it as well, isn't it? So if we all, how what was your perspective on the communal sort of accountability?
I think I think from my perspective, and I've had to learn the hard way, to be despondent when people contradict you or work against you in the name of being a part of your community, because that's part of the community. That not to get not to get downhearted. And I think it's about listening to us and asking the appropriate questions as to the superficial questions. So for me, okay, I'll give you an example. The rush experience. Nobody seems to have talked about the actual boat and what happened on the boat. So it just goes to show that we take it for granted that people have been floating on that boat for 3 years, for 3 weeks, and nobody discuss what actually goes onto the boat and if there was something else that's going on. But what I'm saying is, as people, we tend to shut because we're frightened of criticism from the white gaze or by each other. we have to go silencing and be brave enough to sort of venture into that, because until we actually open that, we're always going to be closed. And also, we've got the most powerful tool, all of us have got the most, is our mobile phone. I think that's been the most interesting thing. We can do it from our own perspective. Sometimes I think it goes a bit too far, but generally speaking, the mobile phone has been made us the speakers from our perspective. So from that point of view, I would say that we're moving. I mean, we are moving. I don't disagree with. I disagree with certain people when they say that we're not moving. We're moving, because when I was born here, you know, you'd have TV, one program, and you'd all rush to see a person. And then the black and white minstrels to think, well, who are they supposed to represent? Because I didn't see it as black people. I just see it as stupid white people playing stupid roles. So do you understand? So it's like, it's, we've moved a hell of a lot, and we've got to take credit for people that have made the platform for us so that we can still go on. And the young people, we got to give credit to some of the young people. There's some amazing young people there. Let's do something. I'm like, hello,